We are live. All
I'm
right.
alive.
We live.
It's alive.
We're back. A dinosaur story. Except we were never back because of the first episode. First episode.
Episode 1, The Kobold Menace.
No, don't bring Star Wars into this.
Too late.
Apparently, it is too late. Not too late before we have ourselves a little bit of D&D. Now, before we guys, oh my god, off to a great start. Before we begin, do any of you guys have any questions?
Not that I'm aware of. So you mentioned before that the because of the setting, because of the environment, the sunlight sensitivity thing won't come up all that often.
It basically won't. The way that that
Okay.
Icewind Dale is right now with the run with the Frost Maiden, there is. So I will describe the light for you. The lightings are like during the day. It is essentially, unless there is any sort of like heavy wind blocking out the sky, and even in plain clear conditions, the weather in Icewind Dale has it such that it will always be dim light at brightest. So there'll be no sunlight.
Okay. So it's not something we should bother asking about for the most part during combat. It could be the exception rather than the rule.
Pretty much that. Yes, unless some NPC for whatever reason has sunbeam, which they probably won't. You probably won't encounter sunlight in this adventure, which is very good considering you're all kobolds.
Perhaps since it's the beginning of the stream, we should introduce our characters.
That would be very good. In that case, why don't I go off on the stream here? My good friend Mike, why don't you introduce your character and yourself?
Hello, I am Mike. Today I am playing the character Hox Hagnar. Hox Hagnar is a kobold from down south. Once upon a time, he was a little runt. Got put out in front of an invading force to protect his tribe, and got separated from them. Found himself in a deep cave with a new mentor and learned a whole lot from him. And now he's looking for more kobolds to hang out with and go on adventures and generally have a good time. Try to live up to the ideals of his mentor and the ideals of an individual he's come to idolize. But not enough about that for now.
Okay. Well, in that case, Steven, why don't you introduce yourself and your character?
My name's Meepo Molo. I'm I'm a cleric of. Let me see. Oh, it's been a while. I'm a cleric of Eldath, and I became a cleric of Eldath after running away from the same disaster that Hawks was involved in. I ran across some clerics and paladins and decided I was going to use that faith to keep me going through hard times. And met back up with Hawks after that, and been just trying to survive ever since.
All right. Michael, how about you and your character?
Hi. Skanak is a scrawny little bugger of a kobold. Good inventor though, best in the business. Don't you know it? I grew up around these parts in one of the bigger cities. I had to leave due to a misunderstanding. I promise. Yes, but don't worry, I'll get better. I'll show them all.
Oh, Nelly, isn't he a wild card? So if you're watching the are you watching the stream, Steven?
I have the stream on, but I'm not watching it.
I was just curious how the audio sounded is all.
I was hearing the audio. I can turn it up and listen. But when I had it in my computer screen, I was hearing an echo, so I turned it down.
Oh,
But
right,
I'm
of
gonna
course, of
put it
course.
up down. Listen, and I'll let you know.
Fair enough, fair enough. In that case, I almost interrupted your introduction, Caleb. Why don't you describe yourself, your character?
Savage's name, savagery is the game. With all being said, I'm a feisty little bugger, bit of a temper, and even less memory. From what I was told, I was found face down in the snow and don't quite remember what happened. I like getting into fights and have a little bit of a superiority issue with the taller people who think that we are weaker than them just because we're shorter. But I'll show them, one ankle at a time.
Okay. Well then, that's everyone.
The sound sounds good, by the way.
Oh, it sounds good. Okay, that's okay. That was good. As long as like no one was too low. I think I adjusted everyone pretty well beforehand. I was very sneakily and quietly monitoring sound. Like did someone's voice peak or did they not? So I adjusted on the fly. Okay, I'm good. Okay, I'm good. That sounds good.
You
Well-
never know how Discord is going to interact with other things. Or
Oh yeah, that's fair. I guess we'll have to just kind of go with it. But hey, that's how it'll be. So, all that said and done, I'll go ahead and lay the scene. The howling wind batters against shoddily constructed houses. The morning sun, as it has been for the past 2 years, barely peeking over the horizon, giving a slight orange glow before disappearing completely, enshrouding the land in the rime of near eternal darkness. The streets of Bremen, one of the smaller settlements of 10 towns, lays bare save for a few spare souls, left to guard it from that which would endanger it. The indigenous wildlife, or the fear of their own neighbors in other towns competing for dwindling resources. The ferocious blizzard makes travel through the mountain pass of the spine of the world to the south especially treacherous, keeping help and trade from reaching the Dale. The eternal rime has created much tension between the people of 10 towns. And only the speakers, appointed representatives of Icewind Dale's settlements, seem to be able to keep their people in check. But who knows for how long? In this frozen tundra, darkness and bitter cold reign as king and queen. And as I did mention Bremen, this is where we start our story. Once a bustling town of treasure seekers and gold panners along the Shangorn River, now a shell of its former self. The only way to make ends meet for most of the villagers is the fishing trade on the Mer Dwalden. It's another day in Bremen. Howling wind and bitter cold, foul tempers, and snowdrifts big enough to bury a herd of moose. But as this day comes to another morning, a hulking figure slowly walks along the lonely streets of this once bustling gold rush town. A massive lumbering figure in a trench coat, standing almost 8 feet tall, with bulky shoulders. As it passes by the windows of buildings, the faces of the seemingly empty town peer onward at this new person of interest. Another mouth to feed, some mutter to themselves. Others intrigued, but some more concerned about keeping themselves and or their families safe. Others still forced to huddle for warmth, as they know what will come on the approaching night of the new moon, and dread it. The figure walks into town. Only a few souls dot the streets. You see the symbol of Bremen as you walk past. The symbol of a yellow circle on a white banner. Hold on, let me double check something here. There we go. A blue band extending to the left under the circle, and a flaring blue triangle opening away from the circle on the right. A gold circle representing the treasure found in the wake of local floods. The blue oh my gosh, sorry. The blue band is the Shangorn River. The blue triangle is Mare Dualden, and the white field represents snow. This figure lumbers towards the closest place of warmth. A tavern by the name of Buried Treasures. Once bustling with many an adventurer in the hope of making their fortune. Now, quite empty. Only a few sparse people make their stay here. And the barkeep, a middle-aged woman, with a bit of a redness to her hair, a little bit of a, despite all the cold, has a little bit of a blush to her cheek. She sees this figure walking in and waves you down. Hi, welcome. Welcome to Buried Treasures. Please, take a seat. I can take a seat by the fire. I'll try and muster something up for you. Just give me a moment. I'll be right there.
All right, we'll be right in there. Just let me shuffle my way to the left a little bit.
All right.
Did you say to the left?
To the left a little bit.
Okay, to the left.
All right. All you hear is the sound of shuffling feet and creaking of wood as this looming figure shovels itself over to the nearest table. The massiveness of this figure gaining the attention of a couple of the patrons in the bar, but otherwise paying you no mind.
Whatever's out there, it smells real good.
So
Yeah, I think maybe I'll have a large helping of whatever's cooking.
2 large helpings.
All right. The barkeep comes over to you. She kind of like quickly like dusts herself off. Clearly, I can see there's a bit of strain in her face. Sorry for the wait. What can I get you? You said you wanted a large portion?
Yeah, what is that I'm smelling? It smells good.
Well, that right there is a little bit of our local delicacy, a little bit of knucklehead trout stew, and a little bit of its meat as well. It's not, well, I'll be honest with you, it's not very flavorful, but times being what they are, it'll keep you full.
And that's what I'm going for. I'm hoping to be fed pretty well. Maybe a little extra if you can. As you can see, I'm pretty big.
I see that. Sure, I'll see what I can muster up. And she quickly shuffles off towards the back of the kitchen. You can hear the clattering of oh, sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
So, how do we do chairs? Do I just sort of stand in front of the front legs?
Yes, currently the figure is still unseated and currently is just standing in front of a chair.
So Hawks, just stand at the feet like you're the feet, and then you two just kind of sit on the chair, make yourselves comfortable, and I'll keep sitting on your shoulders.
Right. Half an hour.
All right, so
He does it.
So, in that case,
Make sure you simultaneous, otherwise it's real weird. And bend your knees a little, Hawks.
Okay, in that
Okay,
case,
okay,
I would like in this case, so this is going to be a bit of a group effort. So this will be Hawks trying to find a way to bend at the right angle, and then the people who are both the kind of like the torso as well as getting up to the shoulders, kind of contorting in the right way, bending a bit forward. I would like everyone to make let's say an acrobatics or athletics, your choice for this, since this is more of a balance thing.
Oof.
All right. Okay. No. That's fine. Okay. All right. So, Hawks, you kind of you lift yourself kind of like backward a little bit, hoping to make sure that you don't miss the chair and send everyone toppling over. So you're kind of like, all right, almost, and you gently set yourself in. Meanwhile, Skanuk and Savage, you bend yourselves forward in order to try and accommodate the shape of the chair, which isn't really meant for someone of your quote unquote supposed size. So you have to make sure that you're not bending in a weird way where you'll fall out of the coat, despite the straps on the coat that of Skanuk's design. And well, in spite of that, and as well as your good rolls, you all have managed to, a little bit clumsily, but you all have managed to balance yourselves and keep yourselves from falling over, revealing yourselves to the local populace. And a few of the patrons they gave you a little bit of a glance as you took some time to see, but they kind of shrugged to themselves and they go back to their business.
So anyway, eating's gonna be a chore too. Maybe we gotta get something sent to rooms after this, unless it's absolutely necessary.
Hey, no, do you have like an extendable spoon or something?
I think that's you there. You're sitting on your own tail, Snack.
Oh,
As it is, Skanuk, you are in fact sitting on your own tail.
damn. No one to blame for my mistakes. Extendable spoon, no.
Oh no, the consequences of my own actions.
Extendable spoon. I'll look into it. Yes, I can see that.
Couldn't we just tie 3 spoons together?
But then it couldn't have spikes.
I suppose you're right there.
Doesn't that make it like a fork or a spork or a spoodle?
A spoodle, of course. I'll name it the Magnificent Zombie Spoodle. Wait, no. That's already taken. Yes, I'll have to think of a name.
Snook is like to the coat, frantically scribbling in a journal.
Don't shuffle around like that so much. It's throwing me off balance, and it looks like I gotta go to the bathroom here,
All right.
but I don't.
As you all are having conversing amongst yourselves, trying to find the right balance, the barkeep does come back with a huge piping hot bowl of stew. Probably you see a couple of the other patrons kind of eye you down, their own meager portions in comparison to yours. You see a slight bit of jealousy, but you have a piping hot stew, knucklehead trout stew in front of you. All right, one stew right for you. Can I get you anything else? You hoping to stay the night, perhaps? I got rooms. Sorry.
Warm room might be nice.
She just kind of waits there a little bit. So is that you thinking about it? Are you muted, Stephen?
I'm muted. How much does that cost? Sorry. I was just in thought.
Oh well, because she kind of like you see her kind of give like an anxiety-filled glance towards like the generally empty tavern. Well, for you, my dear, I'll say for each night you stay. How does 5 copper per night sound?
That sounds pretty fair to me.
Okay. Well, I'll put you down for a room then. She hold on. Let me get the key. You watch as she kind of shuffles off, and she actually. Let me roll something real quick. Ooh. She as she was carrying back the tray, she actually trips on one of the a jar kind of like bar stools, one that was just kind of like laying out in the center of the room. She's like, oh! She falls down, kind of lands on her face. You see a couple of the one of the other patrons kind of quickly gets to his feet and kind of helps her up and kind of helps dust her off.
I kind of lurch forward in the trench coat, almost spill over.
All right. You're quickly grabbed by. He's like, oh, I must help this person. And like Skanuk and Savage kind of like, no, and they kind of like grab you, pull you back a little bit to keep you from falling out of the hood.
It looks like one of those car advertisement tube things spinning back and forth.
What wacky inflatable tube man?
Yeah.
Yeah, in fact, the way the scene plays out, like their backs are to you, and like the one man is like helping her to stuff. Like, you all right there, Cora? It's like, oh no, I'm fine. Like their backs are to you, and like Meepo does actually come out of the hood a little bit, and then he's like arms flailing, It's like, and then comically the rest of you pull her back in.
You know.
Right. Sorry. Are you all right, dear?
Oh no, I'm fine. Thank you. It's been so hard recently with everything going on.
I can imagine that. Yeah, I understand.
Well, she actually like seems kind of dumbfounded from it, and she kind of gets like a little bit of a red tint to her cheek. I should take care of something. If you need anything, just holler. All right, I'll be back. And she kind of like quickly runs up these stairs of the tavern. There is a second floor to this tavern. You assume it's probably you assume she probably lives here, perhaps as part of like a family business. But you do notice that she is the only one who is currently working here at the moment.
Hey, Meepo. We should see if we can lend a hand somehow. Maybe we can get like breakfast on the house. I don't know.
That sounds like a good idea. I'd like to help her. She seems like she's a nice girl.
You want us to serving tables like this?
I don't think we can serve tables like this. I think maybe something a little bit more discreet.
We could wash dishes.
Maybe.
The Skanuk gives
Let's ask what she needs done first.
Okay. So a couple of things here. First off, if you're gonna drool on my head, at least be mindful of my precious bandana. It's a relic, you know. Second off, this smells like adventure to me.
Smells like
I mean, think about it. We're in a tavern. Someone's saying there's problems. It's like the start of every good adventure story.
I think maybe you've read one too many of those stories. And, well, I think we just gotta do our best to muddle through.
Okay, but if there's adventure to be had, I want in.
I won't stop you. You're the feet anyway. We're going where you go.
I have the power.
All right. As you have that conversation, the barkeep, who you now know, who's named to be Cora, comes back down the stairs with a large broom and a couple of extra tablecloths, a couple extra mugs as well, and kind of just starts setting them all on the bar. Kind of a bead of sweat kind of drops from her brow. She kind of like puts an arm up to kind of like just clean it off a little bit. She could just a heavy sigh. She starts to start cleaning the table. So, do any of you say anything?
Cora?
Oh,
Do,
yes, my
do
dear.
you have a moment, dear? Uh, I was wondering if you had anything I could help with.
You see you see there's a bit of there's a slight smile, but like there's like a bit of an apprehensiveness to it. Go ahead. You can either roll an insight check or I don't know. I'd say just roll an insight check.
All right, just a second.
15. This is not an uncommon feeling. Um, while most people would be very appreciative for the help, there is a sense in the Dale, especially with times being what they are. She's not opposed to the help, but you get the sense she's wondering like what you want in return. That's the kind of look that's the kind of what you get from the look that she gives you. Well, what are you looking to help with?
Oh, I'll just let you know I'm a cleric of Eldath, and I just want to be helpful to the people around me if I can. I'd love for us to all be able to get along and to live through these hard times.
You're a holy man or woman. She kind
Woman.
of takes a look at the heavy furs draped like kind of concealing the face, kind of tilting her head.
I'm a woman, so yeah, I'm a holy woman.
Holy woman. Um, sure, I could use some help. She kind of like looks out. All right, everyone, I'll be back in a minute. So keep your orders on hold. I'll be right back. And she kind of like gives like you like a little hand motion to follow her into the back.
Oh,
That's gonna
let's go along with this and stand down up. Just a moment. Takes me a minute. Oh, this cold gives me a little bit of room. My joints are achy.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No,
It
it's
won't
fine.
take long.
I'll deal with it. It's my fault. Let me just get up.
All right,
Stand up.
all right. There's a bit of a slight delay, and then Hawks is like, You suddenly get the message, Hawks.
I'm going to lift with all of my might.
All right, bit of a group effort. You kind of heave the contraption upward a little bit. I won't have you roll for this one. It's the first one is more about like just a balance thing. This one's a bit more your speed. As you lift everyone back up, you shuffle the contraption over to the back room. Probably you assume the kitchen, where Cora is asking you to go into.
Further to the right, I think.
I got it.
Make a perception check, Hawks.
Perception check. All right.
I'll say with advantage, considering your considering
So
what you're doing, what you do as a your fighting style.
My blind sight. Yes.
Okay,
Well, okay. So that obviously that second 20 shouldn't have been rolled, but
that's fine.
it's
Blindside is 2020.
Blind.
Heyo.
blind sight is 2020. Okay. Well, that's
Well, no, it's fine because you know how we roll things anyway. Like if we do have that happen, we just take the one that's on the left anyway. So
yeah.
so you kind of like filter from it, but you're like, wait a second. You pull down your blindfold, and you kind of sense almost like an echo, like almost like Daredevil. You maneuver your way around the tables and chairs because like you get the sense that this place isn't all that well kept per se. And so there's a lot of like leftover things on the ground that aren't as picked up as they should be. So you kind of have to maneuver your way around, otherwise you would trip on them. So you maneuver your way around and you avoid bonking into the bar itself, and then you maneuver your
If
way
my right
just
hand
so.
would just keep it still a little bit, it would make things a little easier for me.
All right, and all right, and then you manage to maneuver your way into the kitchen just so. There is a slight moment where the middle tilts to the side, but you kind of like you give like a little nudge upward to Skinnock and Savage to right themselves as they turn the corner. All right. Okay. So you're are you here on some sort of holy mission or?
Oh, not as of yet. I don't have any orders yet. I'm just traveling through trying to spread the peace, you know.
Okay, well, eh, I'm sure you I'm sure you've heard, Miss Holy Woman, all that's been going on in the Dale as of late. Especially, I'm sure you've heard of the lake monster of Bremen.
Oh yes, of course. I've heard a little bit. What could you tell me a bit more about it?
Well, as far as I know, the monster itself has mostly been attacking fishing boats that have been going out onto the mare. As far as I know, no one's died that I know of, but it's making the fishing around these parts harder than it needs to. It's a small town. We're not much in the way of coin. If you by chance could, I don't know, maybe you to take care of the monster. Like, are you good with the blades, or do you have holy
I'm
magic?
pretty handy in a fight if it comes to it, but I have many talents. If you know what I mean.
Oh,
Many talents. I kick the people below me just slightly.
is that some sort of signal to the rest to do something, or?
No, it's just a signal. Like I was talking about them.
Ah, okay. So you're
I was
more
saying
like an acknowledging
I'm
nudge
basically
then.
signaling that we have something to do coming up, basically.
Ah, okay. I see. I gotcha. I gotcha. Um. All right. Well. All right. If you truly intend to help us, Miss Holy Woman, there is someone that you can speak to. Although I doubt he'll want to hire a bunch of adventurers. He goes by the name of Grinsk. His name is Grinsk Barrelbore. He is the lead fisher in Bremen. He's a bit of a her eyes kind of like dart to the side. A bit difficult to get along with, but and quite honestly, if he hires you, don't expect to be paid a whole lot. I myself
I'm
don't
used to
have
not getting paid too much.
Oh, I mean, I was about to say I don't have much in the way of coin, but if you need somewhere to stay, I can waive the fee for the night's stay.
Oh,
You can
oh,
stay a few more nights if you wish.
well, I couldn't ask you to be so kind, but I would appreciate it.
Oh, bless you, holy woman, bless you. She kind of like goes around and kind of like goes around to give you a hug in your big form.
Oh, let me hug you here. Hug. Yeah, left arm.
All right, so Skanuk and Savage. Um, hmm. Just go ahead and roll me. Hmm. Roll me either acrobatics or athletics, your choice. Yeah, this is more so. Yeah, roll to hug. This is, this. It's more so the difficulty of trying to be convincing in the hug. You're lifting.
Right.
Each one of you has a single hand, and each have to make sure it's in sync with each other, just so. Thankfully, both of you are pretty in sync as both of you lift the arm on your side to to grasp Cora around the arm, around her back, just so where it's convincing enough that she's hugging another person and not an amalgamation of one. Um, she does kind of linger for a little bit before pulling back. Hold on, okay. She kind of pulls back and gives a small bound, a small. Bless you, bless you. Um, if you're looking for Mr. Barrelbore, he's over by the docks on the east side of town.
On the east side of town, right? And that's towards that lake there.
Yes, the mayor, Mayor de Walden.
Right, Mayor. Dwalden. And have any other holy man or women passed through here recently,
Ah,
or any wandering druids or anything like that?
well, let me roll something for her. She kind of like scrunches up her nose a little bit, kind of like putting a finger to her chin. Well, I'm sorry, I don't think I have. If there's any druids here, they tend to keep to the wilds mostly. And plus the only
I
druids.
understand. I was just a bit curious.
Right. Well, I was just about to say the only druids I know of, they don't tend to like tin towns all that much, especially those up in Lonelywood. Mostly in that they're not a big fan of us, us town folk making use of the wild's resources, especially since the never-ending winter is causing all sorts of trouble for the wildlife.
I understand. Hey, do you think that might have anything to do with this here lake monster in Mayor Dwalden?
The lake monster. You don't think it's some sort of druidic beast, do you?
I mean, I never
You
dared.
think the druids did this?
No, I don't. I was just wondering if you thought that was the case. I don't think they probably would do something like that.
Oh,
I mean, wouldn't that be harmful to their own fish and things too?
well, that's a good. She actually kind of thinks about that. That's a good point. Well, I've only heard rumors. The local fishermen, they come in here sometimes talking about what each of them claims to have seen the monster. There's so many different descriptions. Some say the beast is as large as a house. Others say it's about the size of like a horse. So many different varying accounts. It's hard to say who's telling the truth and who's just full of shite.
I sure do hope it's much more towards the horse size than the house size.
There is one
mean,
thing that's
I may be
consistent,
big,
though.
but I'm not that big.
Oh, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. There is one thing that's consistent, though. The beast is said to have a long neck, almost like that of a serpent. But that's the only thing that's been somewhat consistent.
A neck, you say?
A long neck creature, yes. If you like, you can make a nature check.
Anyone or just me though?
I'll say anyone for this.
Oh boy.
Sounds like we can kill it to me.
I was.
Okay. Well, So, one thing is very clear. None of you are absolutely sure what this is. However, Meepo, with your 17, this definitely doesn't sound like a creature. This definitely does not sound like your average native beast to the Deo. You're thinking of native aquatic creatures in your mind as someone who has spent time with druids yourself. You think of killer whales. You think of narwhals, seals, giant walruses. Long neck. That it's inconsistent with a lot of any sort of local fauna that you know. And Hawks, you yourself, your mentor sometimes talked at length about many different beasts that they've seen in their quote unquote wandering dream. You swear that you've heard a tale or two about such a creature. You don't know the name of it, but it's definitely not a creature that is common. Definitely something that is very rare. Probably a creature that is either has been hunted to extinction, but there have definitely been giant's tales that you have heard that deal with the hunt of such a creature.
What do these tales say?
At best as you can remember, some of these tales speak of frost giant and their jarls and their longships sailing out to the oceans and sometimes would hunt these creatures. mainly for their rubbery skin. But the creatures would quickly dart under the water and bite their boats, leaving them to sink into the sea. Of course, whether these tales are true or not is up to you to decide, but you get the sense that it's not necessarily a you would know that it is in fact a natural it seems like a natural creature. It does not seem like any sort of sea monster that you know of. But that's kind of what you get.
I don't quite know of anything just like that in the local creatures. So your description as a a lake monster is pretty much what I'd call that, I guess. I don't know.
Like I said, many people have differing accounts when they come into the bar. Um, she looks like she's about to say something. Well, if you're going to help, well, you'll have a room waiting here for you when you return.
And I'm mighty appreciative for it. I thank you very much. I don't remember you saying how much was the meal. I know
Oh,
it's a lot of food for you,
um,
especially in these trying times.
of course. Just a few silver, perhaps. Like I'd
All right.
just get like 3 silver at most. If you're doing a lot to help us, if you're by taking on this.
I had a lot, so I'll give you 4 silver here.
Bless you, holy woman, bless you. And she kind of like bows, like you could like just very very pointedly, just very bowing to you. Well, you hear a couple shots. Hey, Cora, I need another round over here. Yes, I'll be right with you in a minute. If only my son was here.
Be careful, don't trip again, please. I don't like to see people hurting themselves.
Oh no, but don't worry. I appreciate the offer. Thank you. Oh, you best to be on your way. Be safe. And she kind of touches your shoulder. Please be safe.
Before you do go, you said something about was there any damage to boats from this lake monster?
I mean, as far as I know, yes, there's been a couple reports of the beast taking down, or at least doing damage to the boats. But honestly, if you want to know more, you better ask Mr. Barrelbore. He'll tell you what
I'll
you need
do
to know.
that. And you said his name was
Oh, his name is Mr. Grinsk Barrelbore. And if you would like, I can type that out for you. Yes.
I'll ask for him. Thank you.
I believe that is how you spell the name.
100-foot radius.
Look, I saw the orange circle and like, okay, that's totally me.
Fair enough.
That's how I want to be represented. A big
wide-ranging orange circle.
Indeed.
Fair enough. A noble aspiration.
All right, so I assume you make your way out towards the docks then.
We shuffle our way out.
Right.
Bumping into a few things.
Shuffle. Let me see if I can get the music to work this time.
I'm used to the movement.
I'm good on objects we're approaching, but if you could give me just the general directions, so
I'll try. And mostly, I think we better keep our hands to our sides instead of reaching around. We look like we're drunk.
I'm curious. Are you hearing sound at all? Because it's not coming up on my end.
I'm hearing a very slight, like kind of windy sound. Is that what you're going for?
Yes, it is. The problem is it's not playing on my end, but that's fine.
Let me see if I'm hearing it on the stream here really quick.
It's not too much of an issue, honestly. Like we don't really need to spend too much time on it. I was just curious if you did hear it. But you do.
I'm hearing it very faintly on the stream.
Very faintly? Okay, fair enough. Let's see. So, you all make your way in the general direction of the docks of Bremen. The lake around the creaky docks is frozen, forcing fishers to pull their rowboats up onto the ice. You actually do manage to see, standing between a pair of boats, is a stout humanoid in cold weather clothing. A grey hood hides most of the humanoid's face, but you can make out a wide nose and a long, frosty beard. The stout figure stamps their feet, spots you, and waves you over. Aye! Good you're finally here! Get to it, you ingrates! Those fish ain't gonna catch themselves!
Are you by any chance talking to me?
Yes, I'm talking to you. You see him kind of rub his eyes a little bit. You're a lot bigger than I thought you were at the tavern last
I
night.
believe maybe this is a case of mistaken identity.
No,
I'm
it
not there.
ain't. I recognize you anywhere. You're the lot of fishers that I hired last night to take on a new job.
No, I don't remember taking on a job last night. I did this evening. I was talking to the barkeep Cora, and she said you had a little bit of a problem with some lake monster.
you I just read what Savage wrote. You just see him kind of like reach up to his beard and kind of jostle a little bit, and you see a few shards of icicles drop to the snowy ground, kind of dust off his beard. Monster, I don't know what you're talking about, monster. There ain't no monster in these waters. I'll tell you what there is in these waters. Gold. Specifically, of the ivory kind. Knucklehead trout as far as the eye can see. A living gold mine in this lake. If you can fish it up. I tell you, this is what I hired you for. I swear. I know it was you. Grinsk Barrelbore never forgets a face. You give me for each singular knucklehead trout that you fish up for me. I'll give you 5 copper for it.
Didn't he say it was worth gold?
He did say
I
that.
do remember you saying something about gold just a moment ago.
Aye.
Gold
Either
mine,
for gold
you
or
said?
well, it's more of a figurative kind of like you gotta learn to read the room, Mr. Mrs. Anyway, I don't care. He kind of like waves you off.
Right.
Well, let me be clear. I never did take on that job last night, though.
Sure, that's what they all say. Trying
I've
to get
never
out
met-
of working with old Green Sparrowboard. Oh, he's too much
I've
for
never
hard
met
boss,
you
they say.
before.
Lots of cowards, a lot of them. You notice that he is interrupting you at every
All right,
turn.
I will go with you and help, but I believe the reason that I came along was to deal with that lake monster. If you're not having any trouble with it, I would be more than happy to help you with your fishing.
All right, Savage, you growl. Go ahead and make a At this point, I would like everyone to make a group deception check.
Oh, my stomach is growling here. I'm a bit hungry. I mean, I had just a light snack before here, but
So I'm not laughing at your rolls. I'm laughing at what he rolled. You know what would fill up that growling stomach of yours? A heaping bunch of knucklehead trout fish right from the lake if you do the job.
all right, I'll do my best. It's gonna be difficult. I've got a little bit of my joints are achy.
Right, well, as you're kind of like speaking to this man, I'd like you to give me a perception check, Meepo.
Just me or me and
Just you specifically, because you have an eye out to something. 9. You do notice that the dwarf, Mr. Grinsk, is purposefully standing in front of 2 rowboats. He is purposely trying to, it seems, stand in front of something. You can't see what he's hiding, Um, but he's clearly trying to hide one of the boats from you just by standing in front of it.
Ask him how much he'll pay for a long-necked sea creature that bites boats.
How much would you pay if we were to catch something like a long-necked sea creature that eats boats?
Well, I wouldn't pay anything because it doesn't exist. The only thing that exists in this lake is just a bunch of knucklehead trout right for the taking. He seems very persistent in reassuring you that there is no lake monster.
I get the feeling that he's a bit
Which
of
boat is ours? Is the one you're standing in front of? I'd surely like to look at it. And I kind of tow at Skanuk to try to get a look through maybe one of the buttonholes or something.
All right. With Skanuk assisting you in attempting to lean yourself, go ahead and roll. Roll another perception check with advantage this time.
Perception with advantage. Advantage. Perception.
23. Skanuk, you kind of like, you peer out just a little bit of the coat. It's like a small sliver, but just enough to get a sense of like where you start to lean to the left a little bit, and Mr. Grins starts to lean to the left to try and compensate where the body is leaning. But you fake him out and go to the other side with Meepo in tow, and Meepo with Skanuk's help, you manage to see that one of the boats has a very noticeable bite on it.
I do see that bite mark taken out of that boat. Is that one of them knucklehead trout?
Oh, you see, he is a bit flustered at the moment. He's actually starting to have trouble speaking. You see, I'm
not too worried about the creature that's doing that. In fact, I really do just want to take care of the problem for you. I'm not gonna leave. I'll join your ship if you really want us to. Me too.
He starts to trip it up. And as you're having this conversation, you hear footsteps approaching on the creaky dock. Another figure, covered head to toe in cold leather clothing as well, has joined you. This figure wags a gloved finger at the frosty bearded dwarf. "You have no honor, barrel bore," the newcomer yells. She pulls down a woolen muffler to reveal a pale, half-elven face. "You're sending these innocent people to their deaths, and for what? A few fish? Pay no mind to this rambling fool." Elgrin tries to kind of wave this person off. "You're trying to lie to people about the monster again, just for a few fish?"
I already knew about the monster though, so it's not much of a problem for me. I was actually asking after it, trying to find more information. I really do want to take care of your monster problem.
You see, the dwarf has no more words. He gets all red and flustered in the face. It's like, he just kind of points a stubby finger and says, "Just get to work!" And he storms off, cursing in dwarvish. He kind of stumps away out of earshot, not eager to hear what the half-elf might have to say, but this half-elf then turns to you and kind of just shakes her head. "I'm getting the feeling that Mr. Grinsk doesn't like me very much. Or anyone who steps between him and the gold swimming in this lake. Or the fish, rather. Hi, my name's Tally. I'm studying the local animal life here in Icewind Dale. I just couldn't stay silent and watch another crew fall victim to the monster of Mayor Dualden." The half-elf kind of like reaches out her hand for it to shake.
I guess I'll shake your right hand with my left hand.
She kind of tilts. The figure tilts their head at that. The question is, who is using that hand?
That's you. Kicks that savage. Savage is left.
All right, Savage is
I'm
left.
saying that now, just so that I have an answer.
Indeed. You kind of kick down a little bit, and Savage is like, "Oh, that's me." And Savage, you lift the hand up for the other person to shake. It's a little bit of a, a little bit of a stilted handshake, but the other person kind of like nods up and down. Hi, well, nice to meet you. Um, so I assume, are you going to take his offer, or are you? You said you knew about the monster.
Why, yes, I was talking to Cora over at that inn over there, and I I surely did hear about the monster from her and wanted to help with the whole town's problem. Hopefully, if I can get rid of that monster, we can just have a grand old time. Well, as grand old a time as we can with all this snow.
As you mentioned getting rid of the monster, you see a visible kind of like very quick hesitation. If I could be so bold. She kind of puts a hand up.
Why, yes, I don't mind at all. Go ahead. What? What are
Well,
you?
if you are going to be brave enough to go onto the lake, I don't suppose I could trouble you to. If I could trouble you for something.
What is it? I'd love to help.
Well, you see that at the kind of like at the phrase "love to help," you get the sense that this person doesn't hear that very often. Well, as I said, I'm a wildlife researcher here for the local fauna in the Dale, and when I heard about this lake monster, I was really hoping to study to learn more about it. But I've been, so far, unable to. I don't have a whole lot of coin on my person, so I wasn't able to rent any boats out. And, of course, Mr. Grinsk is, like I said, I don't think he likes me very much. I don't suppose I could trouble you for a favor. She leans into her pouch and hands you a notebook. I can't offer you much other than my gratitude, but if you're going out on the lake, if you could write down any information you learn about the nature of this monster, if we know what's out there, the people of Bremen would be much safer for it. And it bears the potential to be awfully interesting. And if you could maybe not kill it, if there's a chance you could, I would love a chance to study it.
I do think that is a possibility. I will do my best to try to do that. I don't know if I can promise you anything. It's something that I'm not 100% certain of. But I will take your notebook with my right hand, kicks Skinnuk gently.
All right,
Not
you,
like
you kick
hard.
Skinnuk, and Skinnuk, you feel a sharp a sharp kind of like pain on your shoulder. You lift your arm up.
Yes. Oh fuck.
All right, you just kind of hold it to the side a little bit awkwardly. Well, good. Well, so you stormed off. Well, I assume you have the job, and they kind of like put their fingers up in air quotes. If I were you, I'd take the boat that doesn't have the large bite in it. And they kind of like awkwardly kind of give a small smile.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm glad we're of the same mind.
Excellent. Well, good luck. And they kind of just stand back a little bit and kind of put their hands behind their back and just kind of look around.
All right, let me get into this here boat. One step at a time.
All right, so
I'll use my hands to steady myself here.
I would like everyone to make either an acrobatics or athletics check for me.
Getting into the boat.
For getting into the boat.
Getting into the boat. Do we have advantage to the coat? Or do we not?
Not for this in particular.
Okay.
But this is a group check. This is not just like a one individual fails and like we all fall over. This is definitely not that kind of roll.
Thank God. Thank God for
Lean a little to the left here. And,
Yeah.
Oops, steady.
Yeah. Part of this is me narratively figuring out like how to narrate each individual thing, and obviously if you all kind of fail, obviously then it'll be a big issue. But so what happens here? As Hawks, you try and lift your leg up to get into the boat. You stumble a little bit, you fall forward, but thankfully, before Skinnock, your arm kind of goes up. You're unable to grasp the side of the boat, but Savage, you're using your hand. You manage to steady yourself just enough for Hux to get enough of a bearing to get into the boat. And Meepo, with your acrobatics, you manage to not fall out of the hood. So, you get into the boat, and you push off. I actually have to roll something here.
Hey, could you pass me down that notebook?
Will do so.
See, I got some stuff I can put in here already. Stories my mentor told me about the hunts that the frost giants would go on for these things. Yep. Sure was a good story. Also, I don't think we should take the boat out too far.
Perhaps a wise decision.
Why is that?
As you say that, as you ask, why is that? You suddenly see from your eyes, Meepo, you see the boat approaching quite a few ice floes, which would make travel very dangerous. I would like for whoever is going to use the oars, I would like you to make a wisdom check for me. So I assume that would be Skinnock and Savage, who are currently manning the oars since they have the arms.
Wisdom check. Oh god.
Yeah, if you have any proficiency with water vehicles, then we add that proficiency.
Are we out in the lake now?
You are not out in the lake. This is basically you pushing off because
Okay.
to clarify, for the lake, the part that's closest to the shore is filled with ice, and it has to be broken up each morning because it gets frozen over. So really right now, the biggest danger is not bunching into the ice that has been broken apart. Let's see here. All right, so the first one for you, Savage, you just barely made the check. You using Meepo's directions, you kind of like Meepo goes left, 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 and you're like, okay, hush, and you just start rowing, and you manage to just barely dodge out of the way of this ice floe. You're like, phew, made it, just in time for Skinnock to be like, all right, right or left. Wait, you're right, my left, and then you so the boat suddenly collides.
We have the same left.
You got the same left. Your boat suddenly collides with the one flow, and the boat takes 1 point of it's like a light scrape essentially, but the boat does take a little bit of damage.
Let's get this straight. Connect. When I say left, it always means the same way because we're facing the same way.
Let me check the string to make sure the okay, good. Alrighty. So there are 2 more flows to get through. Is there any sort of assistance that anyone else would like to provide to help with these checks in any way? And if you do, describe how you do so.
Are we what?
There are 2 more flows, ice flows, to navigate around. Before Skinnock and Savage make their next checks, is there any sort of assistance that you would like to provide to them? And if you do, how do you do it?
I would probably ask if Hawks could help direct one side. I could direct the other one since we're basically by ourselves now, and he could use the coat to block off any view of him.
Okay.
I'll hold on to their feet so that they can lean into the paddling.
Fair enough. And plus, it makes sense at this point because you are starting to breach the coast a little bit, and plus the coat's back is to the shoreline. So Hawks, you peek your head out from the coat, kind of look around, and you help out. So in that case, Skinnock and Savage, go ahead and make your next wisdom check with advantage.
Okay, so like I was saying, we've got the ice, but I was also thinking, even the giants of old had a little bit of trouble with these things poking holes in their ships. So Don't you think we
I,
try to lure it towards the shore or something?
I surely hope we don't get any holes, because it'd be very tough to swim in this thing. We might have to abandon our little coat.
And speaking of abandoning coats, as you managed to get past the third ice floe, um, suddenly this one seems to be pushed a little bit as the as Canuck tries to rebalance the weight. It almost seems like Hawks, you put a little bit too much weight into helping Skanuck, and he tries to overbalance to compensate, and that mistake causes you to collide into the ice floe again for 2 more points of damage. I am keeping track of the health of the rowboat, so don't worry about that.
Oh, goody.
But thankfully, at this point, there are no more ice floes to crash into, and at this point, you are now sailing into the Mer Dualden proper.
Are we out of sight of the
Right now,
shore?
yes, you are out of sight of. Well, you still see the shore, but at this point, anyone who is on the shore would have a hard time seeing you on the boat.
Okay, let's get out of this thing.
Mending. Okay.
Uh,
Go ahead and roll a d4 for every use of that. Okay.
Good as new.
Good as new. That's pretty much exactly new. With one casting the spell, you slap your hand on the boat, and you're like kind of like you take out your tools and just kind of mutter to yourself as you fix up the boat.
It's as good as we found it. I won't say good as new because
Yeah, it's not new boat I've seen.
What'd you say, Caleb?
This thing's kind of ratty, so as good as we found it. Yeah.
Yeah, all of you are thankful that with Skanuck on board, because all of you know, especially with the nature of the Icewind Dale in general, falling into the water is very bad, especially Arctic cold water. You know for a fact that if you fall into the lake, you have to find a way to get dry quickly, because basically, for mechanics wise, every minute that you spend cold and getting into frigid water, every minute you need to make a con save or face a point of exhaustion. Yes. At this point,
I'm glad we have the exhaustion counter.
Indeed. Let me roll something here. All right. At this point in time, you get to a part in the lake where you can't see too far down. Given the well, actually, you could see a little bit farther given your kobold dark vision. At this point in time, you can at least still see the bottom a little bit. It's about at this point in time around 20 feet down.
So, like I was saying, this thing is going to want to try to punch holes in the bottom of our boat if we let it get near.
I'm
We
curious.
punch holes in the bottom of our own boat to keep it from us. So
I'm
I shoot my sword through it, and if it tries to bump our bottom of the boat, it'll stab itself.
That does sound like a good idea, I think, except that we do need the bottom of the boat to not have any holes in it to start with.
Oh yeah.
Is there any way we could, we've got some spare rations to potentially bait for it? Or, you know.
If only we had another kobold that we could use for fodder, like they did in our clan with us. But I don't really want to do that. That sounds actually, now that I think about it, that's probably not in line with Eldath's teachings. So I think let's skip that. And I like the rations idea.
Well, I gotta say, being on the receiving end of that, I'm not keen to inflict it on anyone else.
Yeah, I agree. It came to mind when you said that.
So I will change the map just a little bit.
That's I still think the same thing.
Well, the other thing I was going to suggest is maybe if we could
Oh no,
find
Bilbo fell in the water.
an
I'm
ice
standing on
wall we could sidle up to and have some additional standing room.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
with four of you on the boat, the rowboat is pretty much at its limit, especially with the coat as well. It's very hard to find any sort of space on the boat at the moment.
Mhm.
Yeah, there is at least the boat has a little lantern that is kept lit at the front to give a little bit of light. But other than that, it is pretty dark. But thankfully, with your Kobold dark vision, it's pretty easy to see in the dim light.
We should have taken the other boat and lashed them together, giving us more room.
That might have been a good idea, but I can't think of a reason to explain it to people who were watching, and we weren't being watched at the time of departure.
If we caught any fish, we could use the other boat for storage.
That, now that you say that, I wish I'd thought of it. Next time we do something like this, whisper something on up to me, and I'll try to say it or do it.
I was smarter. I would have thought about it at the time. God dang it.
So right now,
That
you
does
guys-
sound like it's something up your line, Skinnock. So maybe if you come up with that idea and let us know, we can work on it next time. And we can put the spikes on before we set off, and without putting holes in the bottom of the boat.
Here,
so right
so
now,
what's our plan?
Well, I don't have one.
I say we mess this thing up. That's my plan.
Right now, where is this thing?
Go ahead, everyone. Go ahead and make perception checks for me, everyone.
We all just kind of stare off into the distance.
Everyone make perception checks. It's right underneath you. Ah!
I'm gonna give that perception check to that guidance to I guess myself.
Is there any particular
Oh,
way you
we
want to
already rolled,
flavor
yeah.
your guidance with your artificer nature?
All right, he's gonna take a little like monocle out. It's kind of like a cracked bit of glass inside of a rough circle. He's gonna like tap it to make it start glowing a bit. Then he's gonna look through it.
Okay. Go ahead and roll with your
Different.
guidance.
Different trinkets for every type of guidance. It's not working
it,
very well.
It went down in order. 8, 7, 6. Go ahead and roll a d4. Okay. Oh, hey, 7, 8, 9.
Well,
It's in order. Either way. Okay. Well, at this point in time, I'd say you all are about 100 feet from the shoreline, from where the docks are. Looking around you, even with Hawks' perception, the lake is eerily still. No other boats are currently where you are on the lake, and everything is just quiet. There is no. The only thing that you can hear is the sound of the wind.
Can I take the oar and just smack it on the surface of the water, makes a sound?
Okay.
I was gonna suggest maybe setting something in the water that'll struggle, like some sort of like clothing nobody's using, and we could like wave it around, make it look like some sort of animal.
Alright, do you decide to smack your oar on the surface of the lake, Savage?
we could take a bit of rope, wiggle it like it's an eel.
Everybody's trying something different.
I know, it's perfect. In that case, Do you all want to do your stuff individually, or do you? Or do you just go? I'm all for it. If you guys want to do something individually, you certainly can.
I think Hux was waiting for confirmation on a plan of action and has just seen Savage.
Yeah, yes, you see
Go to work.
Savage. You see Savage take his oar and start like whap 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 whapping the surface of the water. The surface tension kind of like bloom, bloom, every like it kind of bubbles. So
And I
a
think
couple
what-
of the bits of ice that were around it start to scatter and shake and spread apart a little bit with the water surface tension. But you wait for a bit, nothing.
I think Hux is gonna don his shield and keep a hand near his throwing axes for the time being.
Do we want to do this on a
Are we-
boat?
We're out of the coat right now, right?
You are out of the coat currently, yes, but thankfully you all have your cold winter gear, so it's not too much of a problem.
No, we don't want to do it in the boat. We want to do it in the water where it has territorial advantage and where we're just going to die anyway. No, we're doing it in the boat.
Can we get to one of those ice floes and maybe get on it? Or are they too flimsy?
Well, if we really need to, I got a hammer, I got some stakes, I got some rope. We could sink a few stakes in one of the ice floes and basically make a bigger raft. Here, paddle us in that direction. I'm gonna look for one that's looks a little bit stable and like it has a flat surface, maybe.
Okay. I'd say easily enough. You kind of scan around where you are. You can see an ice flow that's seems to be a little bit more stable than the others.
All right, I'm gonna take my hammer and a couple of pitons, stakes, and sink a couple in and tie off the rope to the boat, so we can
Okay.
kind of saddle up to it and get ourselves stable on it.
All right, easy enough. You tie some of the rope to the boat, using probably one of the hooks in the front, most likely. And you hammer it into the bit of ice. There is a little bit of resistance at first, but it gives in, and you have a little bit of ice that is now attached to your boat.
Okay, well that's a little bit more of a platform at least.
So let me in that case, let me I suppose I should go ahead and just draw a little something. I'll say go ahead and just give me a perception check to see how big one was. I'll say. Oh, okay.
I'm feeling very perceptive today.
I'll
And we are
say
mighty thankful for it.
I'll say to avoid slowing the boat down, I'll say you get a bit of ice around that big, if you can see that.
Okay.
That sounds about right. Oh, let me oh gosh,
Yeah,
hold on. Let me
that's what I was, that's
put
what I was
that
testing.
put that on the map layer. There you go. Try it now.
All right. Yeah.
There you
okay. Cool. All right. Now, if motion didn't stir it up, I say we try baiting it. Here's the thing: even if we throw some bait in the water and just a bunch of tuna show up, trout, what are we fishing for?
Knuckle.
I
You heard
believe
knucklehead trout.
Knucklehead trout.
Ah, knuckleheads. Right. Bunch of knuckleheads.
Hey, sounds like us.
What I was saying is, even if it's just a bunch of fish that show up, we can at least catch some of them.
We did bring fishing gear on the boat, right?
That was actually you didn't bring some yourself, but it is as part of the job. You did get some fishing gear as part of the boat deal. They was just kind of lying in the boat when you went off.
Yeah, that's convenient.
I think,
Yeah, you get the sense that Grince kind of like left the boat to its own devices, like leaving you to do like what you need to do. So you gather he like left the equipment for whoever was going to do the job, regardless.
Oh.
Okay, so Cox is gonna take some hardtack from his rations. He'll take a ration and break it up and maybe scatter it into the water a little bit.
Okay, so I assume with this you're going to want to use it as bait for a to catch some fish, aye?
Something like that. To catch
There are
some.
nets in here.
Okay. Let me roll. I gotta roll on something here. Okay. You spend the next hour on this frozen lake. Waiting. Waiting. You get at this point, the only thing left is patience. As another hour passes by, a cold wind blows across the lake. The lake's normally still waters become choppy. Let's see here. You gather that the next check you're going to make for fish is going to be a disadvantage. So go ahead and roll me a survival check. With disadvantage to fish for some knucklehead trout.
Anyone?
You said survival
Survival, yes.
with disadvantage.
Yes.
Everyone or just one person?
Just one person for this.
Okay.
Yeah, you feel like because of the nature of knucklehead trout, they tend to prefer still waters, very calm waters. You get that this just isn't the place to do it. You might need to travel a little bit, either further on the lake, or to an area that's not as choppy.
Well, maybe we should go deep. It might be easier both to find the fish and the big thing out somewhere where it's deeper. Still waters run deep, so let's go somewhere where it's less choppy.
All right. Sounds like a plan for me.
We got to use the oars to move, so we'll do that when we get there.
As Savage just sighs. All right, so in that case, it's about 100 feet away from the coast now. How far further do you want to go?
Well, we should go another 100, 150 minimum, I would think. Yeah, if they ain't showing up at all here, then we're gonna have to go a ways to get anything, really, right?
Makes sense to me.
I say 150.
150.
150.
Let's make it happen.
What about 350?
Are we bidding here? Cause I could surely do. 150, 150, 250, 250,
Again, no monster 350.
Anyway, I think 350 might be too deep, or maybe we'll be on the other side of the lake at that point. 150 sounds fine to me.
All right, so I'm assuming 150 is the agreed upon.
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Okay. Just don't mind me. Just make a note of how far you guys are away from shore. Okay. So the travel with the ice floe is just makes things just a little bit awkward. It's not too much of a problem because you're basically just kind of like it's just like a bit of forward movement, so it's not too much of an issue. You sail a little bit further out onto the lake. So at this point in time, it's around noon, I'd say. Alrighty. So at this point in time, the cold wind has abated from the lake, and the lake is now as still and calm as it was when you first went out.
Well, what do you say? This seemed like a good spot. Can we, how deep into the water can we see?
At this point, the water is... You're reaching a point in the lake where it is... How far is your dark vision as kobolds?
Oh, that's a
60 feet.
60 feet right, 60 feet. Yes. 60 feet dim, 60 feet darkness?
60 feet.
No, just 60 feet.
It is now at this point where it's so far deep that you cannot see the bottom.
Okay, there's got to be some knuckleheads down there, right?
I'd say there's some knuckleheads up here still.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Anyway, maybe we just put out some nets and some bait and see if they come on up here.
All right, so for anyone who's going to be trying, you do find a couple. I will say at this point in time, you may at this point up to 2 people can go ahead and make a survival check for me.
With disadvantage still?
No disadvantage because it was the cold wind that was blowing across the lake that was making it very much a place where the fish didn't want to surface.
Meepo's getting guidance.
Meepo's getting guidance. Okay.
I'm gonna take a quick nap. Wake me up if you guys catch anything or anything like that.
I need the guidance.
9. Oh. Okay. All right. That's 13 total. Let me check something here.
And the other person rolling survival, whoever that is.
All right. So who else was rolling for survival? Because I know Savage is taking a nap.
Let me just get my character sheet. Survival. That was not supposed to be a disadvantage, but I don't think it matters either way.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, you're kind of like I'll use another bit of my rations to go ahead and do a little something, but you kind of wait for a bit. Man, it's not biting. Meepo, you do actually get a tug on the end of your line.
I do.
You do, yes.
I might need some help pulling this up. I'm not the strongest kobold, but someone. Savage. Wake up, Savage. I'm pulling.
Yeah, go ahead and make the force behind this line is very strong. You do know that Knucklehead Trout are pretty much as big as a kobold. Honestly, it's like they're around like 3 feet long, pretty much like 2 feet wide. They're very big creatures for fish. So I would like you to make an acrobatics check for me, just to maintain your balance on the ice flow. 11. Okay, the force is a little bit strong, but you managed to keep your balance. Like you managed to not slip off the ice. Is anyone going to go over and assist our friend?
If Savage doesn't wake up, Hawks will.
Sounds like Hawk's gonna have to.
Okay, well then.
Oh wait,
wake up.
maybe. He did wake up.
You had a D100 for waking up.
I'll roll
50-50.
All right.
Anyway, I see Meepo struggling, so I'm gonna run over there and grab him by the waist and just start pulling backwards.
All right. So, what's everyone's passive perception?
13.
13?
12.
12? 13?
Passive perception. It is 14.
14. Okay. So Savage, you go onto the ice, I assume, to help with Meepo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll balance it out a little.
Go ahead and actually before that happens, as both of you are pulling on the line, this whatever force is down here is pulling very, very hard. Suddenly, the line goes slack, and both of you fall backward. I need both of you make acrobatics checks with advantage, because both of you are kind of like helping each other.
Advantage. Turn that on. Acrobatics or athletics, you said?
Acrobatics. This is more about keeping balance. Okay, 1920. You both manage to. You just kind of land on your butts on the ice. You kind of slip a little bit, and you kind of think to yourself, "Huh, that was weird." What no one notices is that suddenly the flow of ice that you're standing on starts to drift away. You look back and notice that the line has been bitten off.
I do believe that's a problem.
Quick, throw him a paddle. I'm going to grab an oar and toss it to them so they have something to steer with.
All right. In that case, with Hawks, as you're doing that, whoever goes first will have advantage on an athletics check to try and leap over and get back into the boat without falling into the water.
Do we want to even try?
Yeah, I was more implying tossing them the paddle so that they could push the ice flow along and paddle it. Rather than offering it.
I'm sorry. You tossed them an oar. I'm so sorry. I completely misunderstood what you were saying. All right, so you toss them an oar to make sure they're keeping in line with you. And then, my apologies. All right, I need everyone to make another perception check for me now.
We can hopefully paddle together and reattach it later after whatever this is done. And this perception check is just regular.
Yeah, just a regular perception.
Good Lord, Skuck.
Okay. 16.
I think Hawks was more focusing on getting that paddle over.
Fair enough. I'd say you managed to get the paddle over just fine.
Gunnock and Hawks are working on the paddle while Meepo and Savage are looking for what's going on.
Indeed.
Skuck really needs to clear out his goggles. That's what's going on.
Yeah, the only ones who noticed are Savage and Meepo. You watch as a hump of a creature lifts itself out of the water, just barely coasting the surface, around 15 or so feet back, and then quickly, almost as soon as you saw it, dips back into the water.
I believe we have company. Now, I remember saying something about perhaps taking this alive, but I don't know of any way we could do that. Do you?
Bonk it on the head real hard. Tie it to the boat. Drag it back.
We could do that.
All right, with me, as long as we're able to do without getting ourselves killed. Although we're not in much of a good position for that right now, I don't think.
Ha! Well, the joke's on him. There's 4 of us and only 1 of him.
Are we sure about that?
Only 1 bite mark in the other boat. That means that there weren't more than 1 of these things, right?
But they said they saw 2 different sizes, so maybe there are 2 of them. Or maybe it can grow bigger.
Or maybe they saw 1 and it waited a little bit, and then they saw the same one, but it had gotten a little older.
I guess that's true. You've got a point.
Either that or it's just multiple of them hiding in the same trench coat like we do.
Ah. That's probably what it is, actually.
Little tiny guys.
You can't do that. The trench coat's patented.
Copyright TM.
We'll make sure he knows after we've bonked him on the head. Now, I suppose we better get ready. Does anybody need to do anything to prepare for imminent battle?
As you're discussing, Hawks, you would roll a perception check for me. This is near. You're the only one who might notice this. 10. Okay, that's about what I was going for. As everyone's kind of discussing about the plan of action, you notice a pair of yellow eyes just staring at the boat from a similar distance, around, I'd say, around over here, if you can see that.
I saw where you pinged, yeah. Upper left.
Upper left,
Mhm.
yeah. It's watching. It's not doing anything, it's just staying still and looking in your direction. And as soon as it notices you're watching it, it kind of drifts slowly downward. Not maintaining eye contact as it does so.
So far no one's talked about how smart this thing is supposed to be. And I suddenly got a really bad feeling that it might be a bit smarter than we assumed.
Is there a bigger ice floe around we could maybe turtle up on?
You could make a perception check if you wish.
Right?
I think Hux is going to ready a hand axe to throw if he spots it again. He's going to sweep the water and...
Okay. With the 13 perception, it's gonna. There aren't a whole lot of bigger ice flows around, especially at this distance in the lake. Most of like the bigger ice chunks are like more near the coastline. There are a couple ones similar size to the ones that Savage and Meepo are currently on, but that's about all that you see.
No. So no big islandy thing. Okay.
Yeah, no big ice islands, unfortunately. No big bergs.
Fucker.
Perhaps we should go somewhere where it's a little bit closer to the shore then. Maybe a little bit.
Uh, yeah, why not? Here, let's get us back a bit. I think we need a new plan either way.
Did you say that this thing's likely natural in from your mentor's stories?
Yeah, they were critters that lived out in the water, and the frost giants of old would hunt them for their hides, and sometimes their boats would get bit. But like I said, this one's creeping on us.
Yeah, I do wonder maybe perhaps if, well, maybe not. It's just a thought, but we do know there are druids in the area.
I mean, yeah. Are you suggesting we try to talk to it?
Perhaps that could help.
Hey, lake monster.
Mr. or Mrs. Lake Monster?
Let me check something real quick. Hang on, give me a second. Are you speaking that at normal volume?
I mean, I'd be yelling it loud enough to, like,
Yeah, try and
project
get
my
it
voice.
to hear us.
Yelling at it? Okay. There is. Let me roll something real quick. Okay. As you shout out into the cold night, or not into the cold noon, the water shifts. Hawks, you see those same pair of yellow reptilian eyes slowly coming back to the surface. And suddenly the monster breaches the water. You see a reptilian head at the end of a long, slender neck rising out of the cold, dark water. The ice and flow streaking off of its black, rubbery hide. Its elongated reptilian snout filled with sharp, razored teeth. And the creature gazes at you intently and speaks aloud in common. I'm listening.
Oh, uh, I was not expecting to have a direct conversation, but that is a pleasant surprise. Hello. My name's Meepo Molo. How are you?
The serpentine neck kind of tilts its head a little bit. You can hear bones and muscles cracking as it kind of snaps its head to the sound of your voice and kind of stares at you intently. It is another day, like any other. Sure, and suddenly Skinnock is like back into the boat.
Those jaws are looking alarmingly Skinnock-sized.
Yeah, this creature, by the way, as its full size becomes more apparent, the long neck kind of betrays its true size. Its head is quite small compared to the rest of its body. As the neck reaches out, you can see that the back end is almost more I'd want to say not quite whale-like, but it has long. The body itself is more serpentine, but the ends of its at the end of its where its limbs would be are large whale-like flippers, very large paddle-like flippers that kind of are to the sides, and a long actually not long, more squat stubby tail at the end. And it sees you kind of scrabbling towards the boat, and it almost like a cat watching a mouse. Its gaze snaps towards you and stares at you.
Do you think if we wrote this in the notebook that the researcher would believe us?
I don't know his level of suspension of disbelief or his faith in us. But it doesn't hurt. Anyway, could I get your name? It's much easier to speak with someone you're acquainted with.
You see the serpentine figure. Its body kind of drifts under the water slightly, and the head kind of like tilts to the side again, this seemingly tilting away from you. This one was not given a name. I simply am. I'll let you roll an insight check on. I'll let you roll an insight check on the creatures, as much as you can insight a serpentine lake monster.
Fox is too busy writing what he hears.
Indeed, yeah, you're spending too much time taking notes. Meepo, you get the sense when it says it was not given a name. Strange, then who would have possibly given it a name? That thought kind of comes to you.
Well, who are you? Would you get a name from? If you don't mind my asking.
Kind of shrinks into the water. I was given this gift by the one who is named Ravison.
Could you spell that out for us?
I will most certainly spell that out for you. It is. I don't know. Hold on. As I'm typing out, what do you think? How do you think it's spelled?
Ravisin.
Oh dang! You got on the first try. Yeah, first try. You got it, Ravison. The one known as Ravison claim to serve the Frost Maiden, who wants the people of Bremen to suffer.
And do you also want that?
The beast seemingly doesn't want to answer. Its head kind of like tilts left and right and kind of shakes itself off in the cold air. I used to just swim around the lake and eat fish. It kind of looks towards you. I don't want to be a stupid beast again. For anyone who wants to, roll me an Arcana check for me.
I'm not gonna have this. Oh, okay, maybe I am.
14, 11, 19.
No, nothing.
Well, fair enough. The DC is 15. You just barely missed it, Hawks. Also, you get the sense like, this sounds like maybe some druidic stuff. Like, you're not entirely sure. Skanuk, you've heard of magic like this before. And this makes sense. You're the one who spent the most time. You spent most of your life in the Dale. You've heard of druids who have the magical capability to awaken any form of animal, to give it sentience and speech. You get the sense that this might have been what happened to this creature. You also know that such an effect is permanent.
Well, good news is there's not much a way to turn you back, so that's good, right?
Okay, but can we real quick clarify just for my notes here? What is your stance on the suffering situation?
Make a persuasion check, Hawks.
I gotta write it down. I mean, it's
I do believe stupid beasts, generally speaking, don't mind suffering one way or the other. They just try to avoid it. But those with intelligence have a duty to be kind to each other.
Roll a persuasion check as well for me Beepo. We'll see what you can do. Soft 20. Whew. As you kind of ask it that, Hawks, it kind of dips its head into the water a little bit. It's almost as if it doesn't want to answer the question again. Meepo, you kind of implore it a little bit more. Ravison, I do not care. I just want to be free and be happy. But I fear Ravison. She told me to spread fear among the town's fishers. I was afraid that she would turn me back into a stupid beast, but he kind of looks towards you again, Skanuk. It is good to know that it might be more difficult to do so than I thought. I do not know where Ravison came from or where she is now. I only know that I am scared to betray her or to not follow her command.
Well, is there any way you could scare them without perhaps preventing them from fishing? Just make a show of it.
That is what I have been trying to do. I bite the boats. I knock the boats. Sometimes people fall in. They get pulled back in. They go back to shore. I do not want to kill. I just want to live and be me.
could you do all that without the bite in the boats part? So when the boat gets bit, they lose their catch. You know, you're eating the fish in the lake, they're eating the fish in the lake. Everyone's got to eat, right?
Well, roll persuasion with advantage from the previous checks that have been made.
Who's rolling this? Is this?
This would be Hawks because he's speaking
Hawks,
directly
okay.
to the creature. 17. You can tell the creature is. It really does consider what you're saying for a moment. But there is a look of fear in its eyes. I am sorry. I cannot betray Ravison.
Well, could you leave just a little part of the lake unhaunted? And
I can. Perhaps you would wish me. If I see Ravison again, mayhaps I will ask her to perhaps see if I can go towards the town to the northeast. And he kind of looks towards the direction which you know, Skunnock, would be the town of Lonelywood.
Doesn't that just put the same problem in Lonelywood's hands?
Yes, but I would not be attacking this one.
I think it sounds more like we need to deal with this Ravison.
I am sorry. I do not know where she is. I only know that she despises those who live in Bremen and those that live in the towns of Ten. By the Frost Maiden's command.
and who might this Frost Maiden be? Do you know?
She is the one that Ravison claims is the cause of the eternal winter. It is why Ravison enjoys the suffering so, as those that dwell in the towns starve, and those that dwell in the towns cry out for lack of warmth. So she revels, and so she does by Frost Maiden's will. The Frost Maiden, Oriel. Now write that down. And as that name is spoken, each of you feels a slight tingle in the back of your spine. The air almost seems to grow cold at the mere mention of the name.
That's a little eerie.
I do agree with that. That is somewhat eerie.
Well, while we got your attention, can I ask you a few more questions? For the notes here.
You may ask your questions. You see, it seems like the creature is seemingly disappointed in itself that it can't help you. It seems you get the sense that its fins are tied. I can't say hands are tied. Its fins are tied in regards to the Ravison situation, but it'll at least answer your questions.
Well, I mean, it's a lead for us either way. I was just wondering if I could get some more notes for our researcher friend here. So what's your favorite color?
Hang on a second. Orange. I've seen the colors of the Bremen flag. It is, well, it's slightly bright. It's like my eyes, but slightly darker. It is a good color.
Oh, that's a good answer. I'll write that one down too.
It's like the glow of your lantern as well. It is very pretty.
Oh man.
So good.
What other questions? What other questions you guys got?
How do you know the color of your own eyes?
I see it in the ice. I can sometimes see my own reflection. I like the way I look.
That checks out.
Have you ever heard of Eldath?
I only know of Ravison and Frostmaiden. I know of no other.
Eldath is a god, the god of peace. Maybe perhaps you could ask Eldath to help you with your fears against Ravison. I know it's a lot, but Eldath's pretty powerful.
Roll roll persuasion, Meepo.
I actually do go to Eldath for help with fears quite often. In fact, that's the reason I follow Eldath.
Oh. I do not know this Eldath, but I know what Frostmaiden is capable of. And this one fears her very much so. And kind of, you can see the head kind of slink back into the water a little bit.
If you'd like, I could show you some of Eldath's powers.
It seems to be listening, but still seems very skeptical.
But just come here, honey. Let me lay my hands
Honey?
on you.
All right, the monster swims around the ice floe that both Savage and you are on.
Are we really evangelizing to the Loch Ness monster right now?
That's
Yes.
I think that's what's happening right now, and I am 100% for it. Okay, is there any way you want to describe the spell?
Um,
Oh, hold on, I have to. This is very important what I'm doing right here. There you go. It's
Think
paying
about-
attention to you.
I'd say like the flow of a waterfall kind of sound comes out, and the water around its back sort of forms like a cape, flowing water, and it's a little bit warmer than the water around it.
Okay. Roll another persuasion check, this time with advantage.
Natural 1 to natural 20.
Are we successfully converting the Loch Ness monster?
As the waves of water pour over this creature, it kind of like it tilts its head upward, and its limbs and muscles seem to go slack, as you hear a kind of soft, almost kind of like a rumbling sound coming from its throat. You assume satisfaction. Difficult to say. You've never seen the creature before. But it as the spell kind of fades, eventually it looks towards you. I have never felt such warmth before. And this is the power of this Eldath.
Yes, honey. This is just whenever you feel remember this feeling, and hopefully it will help you.
You see, it kind of nodded its head. Yes. I will pray to this Eldath, and I will no longer feel the Ravison and the Maiden of Frost. Thank you,
Now-
small one.
This feeling will only last another minute or so, but you
Oh.
can remember it, I think, and
Oh.
come back to that feeling.
Will you
Hey,
come
yeah.
again?
I'll try.
What is your name, small one?
I said my name is Meepo Molo.
Oh, I'm sorry. My memory is not so great. Meepo. And your companions.
This is Savage, and Hawks and Sknuck.
Thank you, Savage. Hawk. You see, it tries to enunciate with its tongue. It doesn't seem to get Hawks quite right. The closest it gets is Hawk. And then he just looks towards Sknuck and says, "And goggled one." Thank you.
Yeah, very nice goggles.
Thank you. All of you. I will not. I will no longer attack the people of this. I will no longer attack this Bremen. I will try and live. I will try and live peacefully. The people of Bremen will no longer need fear me.
If it's possible, sometime maybe we could meet out here. You and one of my friends wanted maybe to talk to you.
You see, it starts to get. It almost seems to get a little bit shy. I prefer to be alone. Too much in one day. Maybe another day.
Yes, maybe another day.
Well, I will go now. Kind of sinks back under the water.
Oh man, I got so many good notes here. I still don't think they'll believe us.
I really don't think they will at all.
Hey, Savage.
Yeah.
Roll me a dexterity saving throw.
Oh no.
21. You suddenly feel this thwack.
How long has it been? How long has it been since this conversation started?
Oh, it's been about a conversation. It's probably been about maybe 30 or so minutes total.
Okay, then never mind. I was gonna say if it's still within the first minute or so of the conversation, which I wasn't thinking it was. I just wanted to check.
I probably wouldn't do too much damage. Savage, you suddenly feel this wet slap against your side as you see a knucklehead trout has been flown into the air and is plopped by your side.
Hey. Thanks.
You see the creature, its head slinks up above the water again, and it gives a wink and it goes back under the wave.
Is the knucklehead trout still alive?
It has a large bite mark on it, so it is no longer alive.
Okay. Ow. I yeeted it.
So we're in the right area at least. Maybe we could fish a little bit more and then go back.
Oh.
This is probably a better haul than that sour dwarf's had in a good while.
All right. In that case, would you all like to make individually over the next hour or so some survival checks to see if you get more fish?
That sounds fine to me.
Yeah, let's do it. My hand's sore from writing. Could use a little fishing. So that shouldn't have been an advantage, but you know how it goes.
Who's guidance on Skunk?
Probably
I figured.
on himself. Selfish little bugger of a kobold.
I'd like to point out how our rolls seem to have just followed the narrative. Our initial survival rolls looking for fish were really not good, and now that we've got friends happening,
the dice want to tell a story sometimes, I swear. All right, well, with those rolls, I think it's 20, 14, 18. Yeah, over the course of the next hour and a half, I'll say hour and a half, all of you managed to eventually catch a knucklehead trout. Now, granted, each time this happens, 2 kobolds have to pull it in at a time because it's about the same size as these fish are about the same size as each of you. So it is a bit of a trial, but you now have 5 knucklehead trout in total, and at this point in time, due to all of your sizes and the size of the fish, there is no more size in the boat. Sorry, no more size. There's no more space in the boat. Sorry.
Fair enough. We can move the fish over onto the ice floe and then move us into the boat so that we can get into the trench coat again.
Yes, that would work. That would definitely work.
Sounds like an idea to me.
All right, let's get coated back up. Here, hop up on my shoulders.
Commence stack.
Stack. All right, easy enough. You all managed to get back. You strap yourselves in. and you make the trip back to Bremen proper. As
Any
at this
check
point in
needed?
time, oh, go ahead. What were you gonna say, Stephen?
Are any checks needed?
To get into the stack, not so much. I'm assuming you're spending the rest. It's a bit of a journey towards the
Mhm.
back to the dock. So I'd say if you just spend your time, I won't have you make a roll. It'll just be just naturally occurring over the course of the next couple hours. Um, not that it takes that long in general, but like even if you roll poorly, like it's gonna take a while to get back anyway. At this point in time, it's hard to kind of track time in general because it's consistently like dim light. But you gather it's around probably, I'd say, early afternoonish at your best guess. Kobolds generally have a good sense of inner time anyway, since they spend most of their time underground. Good internal clocks, as it were. As you make your way back to Bremen proper, you see a very impatient, familiar-looking dwarf who is currently on the docks, arms folded, kind of pacing around. Where the devil are they? There you are! Come on in, let's see what you got. As all of you make your way, kind of like,
Feet up, over, up. Careful! Don't fall into the water. Up. Got
yeah,
left arm, right arm.
yeah, you slowly, Hawks, you shuffle your legs out of the boat. Like, all right, the dwarf comes over to inspect. All right, let's see what you got here. All right, okay, all right. Five nickel headshot. That's a good day's cuts right there. All right. True to my word. 5 copper per fish. That is so 5 times 5. That's 25 copper for you, sir, or ma'am. It kind of ma'am. It is big ma'am. Okay, he kind of hands you the coin in it's a little tiny pouch.
25 copper.
25 copper, yes.
So each of us takes six, and then 1 extra.
All right. Pleasure doing business with you. Hope I see you again tomorrow. Hopefully the fish will be biting better tomorrow, eh? Kind of points the finger at you. Now get out of my face, and he walks away.
I'll have it too.
What'd you say, Caleb?
I cut his ankles.
Let's not cut people's ankles until it's really necessary.
You know, that was probably a better haul than any of his boats have brought in on any given day this past month.
I feel skimped.
Well, you did agree to 5 copper.
We agree to 5 copper.
Next time we can up our.
We've got an ally who can do a lot of hunting for us.
Oh my gosh, it's a fishing racket.
Speaking
We'll
of
monopolize this lake for its fish.
Speaking of allies, we should turn this notebook in and maybe, well, it's going to be a little bit of a hard one to explain, I guess. And then I think we should go looking for this Ravahoozit. Sounds like a real piece of work. Maybe that's the person whose ankles we should be going for.
That might be true.
Did someone mention me? And you hear a familiar voice of the half elf that you had seen previously, who was known as Tally, walking up to you. Ah, you're back, and all in one piece too. So, do you have any notes for me?
I'm not sure how useful it will be, but I do have this. And I kind of it's gonna to put the arm out with the notebook.
Oh, the figure kind of clasps their hands together. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. She kind of like takes the notebook from your hand. Thank you. She kind of flips to the couple pages. It kind of like she mutters. Do any of you speak Elvish?
No.
Fair enough. All right, I was like, all right. She kind of like the individual mutters to themselves, and I keep saying she, but really they don't. They seem more androgynous when you kind of look at their face. They kind of say something in Elven that you can't understand. Kind of like a bit sparse, very short, very one syllable kind of Elven words. Perfect. This is exactly what I need. Fascinating. Well done. Truth be told, I was very scared you wouldn't make it back, but deal is a deal. I said I did manage to muster up a little something from back home. They kind of
Can I
reach
roll
to their
insight
bag and they pull out.
on this?
Oh, go ahead.
Can I roll insight on this person? They seem to have just accepted everything and like been expecting it, or not been surprised at all by any of the extra stuff that was added in.
Sure. Go ahead and make an insight check.
And it's weird to me.
What if it's all written in Draconic and they don't read it?
I think Hawks has been writing in common.
That's what I assumed as well. Unless you specifically said you were writing it in a different language, I assumed you would have written it in common. 12. As much as you can tell, the person seems very impressionable. You don't get the sense that they're a very good judge of character. And with that, they probably just readily accepted you because they just trust you. You did, plus the sense that like you put your lives on the line to get whatever this information was, so they don't think you're lying. They do seem to be a bit strange though. They do seem a bit odd, but in a harmless sort of way.
Okay.
But as they're kind of like thinking that to yourself, they hand you a satchel full of. Yes.
Can I get your name, honey?
My name was Tally.
Tally.
I hoped I
Tally.
introduced
Right.
myself. Seems
Yes, you
we're
did.
all forgetting names here. It's fine. They do hand you a pouch of 5 gold pieces though, and they hand you a scroll.
Ooh.
Yes,
I
a little
will-
bit of a
Arms
home
to
design.
reach out, grab the things,
Alright.
patting them on the back. Go.
All right, Skinnock and Savage, you kind of like reach each for one individually and kind of grab.
Hawks doesn't have to remember names because he's the legs.
You look at the scroll. It is a scroll of why don't you roll an Arcana check for me, Mippo, as you're looking at it.
Since I'm looking at it, I guess I have.
Yeah,
to
since you're
roll
looking at
the
it, I mean, you are the face, as it were.
I'm the eyes.
9. It's definitely a magical scroll of some kind. It's definitely a
Magical
spell scroll.
Well, I will look at this later and decipher it.
Yes, I feel like it's one of my own specialty. That should help you if you're trying to avoid some of the nastier fauna. Hopefully, it'll hopefully a bit of a saving grace.
It is one of my hobbies.
Ah, well, we're a bit of a kindred spirit then. Well, best of luck to you then. Farewell.
And to you too.
All right, and they kind of
I'll
make.
be with you.
Yes, and Eldath with you too. And they start opening and kind of flipping the book, muttering to themselves in Elvish again, and they wander off.
Never mind.
So like I'm pretty sure I would have included that comment on it being an awakened creature in there, so it's not like it's just without context conversation notes.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
Though convincing someone that that's the case is also still
Right, you get the sense. Strangely enough, they readily accepted what you said. That was the weird thing. But Bebo got the sense that it was just a part of their personality to readily accept information, which maybe is not the best for a supposed scholar, but there it is. in not so nice words, perhaps. Skinnock, a chump.
Excellent.
As Skinnock starts to scheme. So, with that, I assume, what do you want to do next? Do I assume you were heading back towards the Buried Treasure Tavern?
Yeah, we probably ought to do that.
Alrighty. You make your way back. As you do so, go ahead and make perception checks for me.
Everyone?
Everyone, yes.
Hey.
16, 10, 18, 22. Alrighty. Alright, as you make your way back towards the Buried Treasure's tavern, Uh, let's see here. 18, 22. You catch an interesting sight. You see what appears to be an older woman, probably in her early 50s or late 40s. You see that she is making her way through town on a dog sled, it seems, but she is followed by an entourage of kobolds. It seems like they're making their way out of town. They're very far away from you, probably around maybe 200 or so feet, but they're making their way out of town at a breakneck speed.
The kobolds are going at the same speed?
Well, it seems like, fun enough, it seems like they have their own mini sleds that are tied to her sled. It's not working very well for them. You hear cries of your kobold brethren screaming out, "Ah! Slow down! Slow down!" But to no avail.
That does not seem fair.
Interesting enough, with your 22, you notice that... at this distance... Yeah, no, with the 22, you notice that one of the kobold's arms fell off. In the back.
Huh?
Just
say,
straight off,
"Look,
fell
look,
off.
That way, over there. Come on."
Like, yeah.
I assume, do you head towards where that, you head towards where that happened?
Urging the legs to move that way. Left.
All right. I'm on it.
All right, you head that way. It's a bit of a slow jog, because Ox is literally carrying everyone else. It does take you a while to get there, but you do come to the spot where you saw the arm fall off, and you see a true to form, an arm of one of your kinsmen, a kobold, in somewhat of a very slight state of decay.
So, the zombies?
Make any one of you can make either an Arcana check or a Religion check of your choice. For some, the DC might be a bit harder depending on what your character might know.
Oh boy, this is not
Gonna go ahead and give that to Meepo.
All right, Meepo, go ahead and roll a d4. Okay. So, let's see. So we got 12, 15, 7, and 11. Okay.
The 11 is 12.
Oh, sorry. I thought I said 12.
Savages is 11. Okay, never mind. There were 2 11.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, I thought it was right. I thought it was right.
No, I just had to scroll up to see Savages roll.
No, that's fine. That's fine. So the only one who might, actually no, Meepo. This makes sense for you, Meepo. The state of decay it was in. You sense something about this arm. There might be some necromancy at play here. That kinsman might have been very raised as a zombie.
To make kobolds zombies when you could just use live kobolds. They usually do it anyway.
Sir,
you're not giving us a lot of credit right now.
I don't think we deserve a lot of credit, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, when somebody really big comes and tries to make me do something, usually I just capitulate. I just really like these days.
Hey, I'm under the impression that we shouldn't be forced to do anything, alive or dead.
I agree, but it's just a reflex for me recently. Yeah.
Hey, I say we follow him and take out the human that's got these brethren under its control.
Was that a human? Could you tell?
It's hard to say from the distance. I will say what you saw was you saw a woman with white hair. You didn't get see the ears and see if they were maybe an elf. They seemed humanoid, definitely possibly human or elf at the distance you saw. You couldn't tell specifically, but definitely more human, maybe elf.
Yeah, it's one of them tall buggers, like Snick says. I think
I think that's
maybe
not
we
a
should ask about that person before we
Oh,
go and attack.
what were you
Sorry,
saying?
go ahead.
What were you saying, Caleb? Sorry.
meaning it's not a kobold, it's a human.
I do agree that if we ask around, we might get some more information. Know what we're walking into.
All right.
I mean, they passed through town for a reason.
All right. As you all kind of think to yourselves about this, the tavern is actually not too much farther away at this point. It is probably maybe another 10-minute walk at most from here if you wish to head there. I assume you
So we
do.
don't have anything that could really follow a dog sled at this point.
No, you with your current state, it takes a lot of time to get anywhere. A dog sled can travel pretty far pretty quickly.
All right, yeah, let's head to the tavern and ask around.
All right.
Or I guess Meepo, you'll ask around.
I was just thinking that. Anyway, you gotta turn to your left a little more. We're facing towards. That's not the tavern.
Like I said, I got stuff near us covered, but okay, yeah. Well, is this right?
That's better. Yeah, yeah. I'll correct you when we're near. Just
All right.
don't forget the stairs.
Nope. Oh, stairs. Yeah, I can sense them. I can sort of feel them there. Here we go. Up we go.
All right. You. It's a little bit of
Left hand, grab that door handle there.
It's a little bit of a trick. It's I mean, to be fair, the tavern is ground level, so it's not there isn't too much of like a stair to trip over. Thankfully, you shuffle your way in, and Cora, as soon as she sees you, you're back. Oh, thank the stars. She kind of like quick, have a seat. I'll get you something warm right quick. You can take a seat. I won't have you roll a check this time.
Yeah, we're figuring it out now.
You're figuring it out.
New skill unlocked. Sitting.
New skill, passive sit check. Quickly though, you are given a hearty bowl of knucklehead trout stew. And so Cora sits down and kind of asks you all about, asks you about the creature, asks like if it was successful or not. And I assume you tell them. How much do you tell them?
Well, I'm not sure how much you'll believe me, but we did find the creature, and it so happens that it was awakened by a local druid. So we talked with it, and I converted it to follow an Eldath, and hopefully you won't have too much more trouble with him.
Sorry. I'm trying to keep my composure, but I still can't get over the fact that basically converting.
Convert the Loch Ness monster to the religion of peace.
Nessie is a peaceful creature, after all.
I love it.
For all you Nessie lovers out there, Nessie is a peaceful friend.
Now we got to track down the Mothman and the Sasquatch.
I'm not opposed.
I'm sure we can find a Yeti somewhere around here.
Yeti.
Oh, that's actually a good point.
All right, so
The problem is I need to learn how to speak Yeti.
you regale Cora with these tales. It's a bit hard for her to believe at first, but she, true to her word, she shows you to your room. You have a fair bit of lodging you can stay as long as you like, and you're always welcome to stay at her tavern. In the coming couple of days, the town notices that there are no more attacks from the monster of Ribbon Lake. And Cora, for anyone who stops by, tells everyone who walks through about the wonderful thing this new traveler has done for the town of Bremen. And you lot are sung praises. A couple people buy you some drinks, which are depends on whether you accept it or not, considering whether you can drink them. But yeah, you at this point, you are praised all and out throughout Bremen, and on a
Well,
morning
one of
three.
the head is.
What'd you say, Mike?
One of us is. The head is praised for.
Oh, yes, yes, the new holy woman of Eldath passing through, the giant woman of Eldath, wandering through. But around, I'd say, around 2 days.
We're gonna have problems with jealousy starting here, aren't we?
About 2 days from now. The morning comes, and a tavern is abuzz. There are many things that are talked about. It seems like with what you've done, the tavern is a bit more abuzz than usual. Partly with regaling of your tales, but something else more concerning as well.
Is there something going on?
Well, from what you can tell, it's another gruesome day in 10 towns. As much as whenever there is a little bit of light left to be had for this city, it seems like something else seems to happen in 10 towns that just seems to drag it all back. Today, the tavern is abuzz with news about a series of recent killings. Before the murders, the only question on everyone's mind was, will Summer ever return to Icewind Dale? Now the question is, will I be the killer's next victim? Nothing breeds fear and paranoia, after all, like a murderer with no face. So far, from what you all can gather from listening in the tavern, 3 cold-blooded murders have been committed in the past month. A halfling trapper in East Haven, a human shipbuilder in Targos, and 3 days ago, a dwarf glassblower in Bryn Shander. Each victim was found with a dagger of ice plunged through the heart. What's the connection, people say? The drunken lot huddle in the tavern offers you no credible ideas. But there's someone in the tavern who seems to be giving you a sharp eye. An elderly shield dwarven woman with a nasty scar across her nose. Looks like she has something worth knowing. And as she walks over to you, smoking her pipe and eyeing you, I'm going to end the session for tonight, and you guys level up to level 2.
All right, level 2.
What do modifiers use for that?
Clerics at level 2.
Please tell me it's not something big. It is something big. Fun. Alright,
Yeah.
I get to infuse items.
Ooh.
Phew. All right. So, how'd you guys like that for a first session?
I
That was good.
quite a bit.
It was good.
There is an interesting, and I'm not going to say this as like a bad thing, but more as like the dynamic of having to try and get communication to one player to kind of be the voice it's a very different sort of experience. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, because I know it could easily be taken that way. It's just a very different mindset to have.
It's a different mindset, but it involves a lot more of 1 or 2 people actually talking when we're in town. So I feel like I get a lot more roleplay when I'm the head, which means in terms of being able to let everybody kind of have a fair shot at it, I'm willing to kind of switch heads. Maybe each town we should pick a different head.
I like it.
That's a good idea. To mix it up a little bit and make sure everyone gets a chance to speak to people.
I don't feel that I was missing the chance to speak, just that it was a different kind of communication, being like, hey, pass it up, you know?
We could have the discussion before we enter a town who wants to be the head, and if you don't want to be the head, just don't nominate yourself.
Fair enough.
Besides, being the feet is all the power, really.
You have all the control.
I do not think that could ever be the feat.
Yeah, he's a little bit tiny.
Very small.
Yes. Being the head is the reins on the feet, though, because like the feet, yeah, you can go out 10 feet at a time and kind of find a way, but you don't know where you're going to end up in the end. You can't tell where you're going as on along.
I do think it's fun to have the blind sight thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the feet. I mean, you know.
Less
That we could all
I'm sorry.
Who
I'm
does
so
this?
sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt what you were saying, but I looked at the users in chat and it's just someone. You were just talking about legs. And I saw someone named Feet in the chat, and like who's watching in the stream chat. And I was
There's
caught off
someone-
guard. I'm sorry.
There's someone named Feet, and then there's someone named 69 Feet.
Wait, what? I missed that. How did I miss that?
Hello, footly friends. Hello. You must really be a fan of me then. Haha. Oh, look at that.
Oh my goodness. Oh, I really enjoyed this. I was hoping. I was really hoping you would get a chance to talk to the creature. I really did try and play up how its intelligence a little bit. But obviously, whether or not whether you talked to it was very important. And I'm so glad you did, because I now have plesiosaur convert of Eldath in my notes, and now I have that, and I have that at my disposal now.
Praise Eldath.
Praise Eldath.
I was just like, I mean, what would my character do? I'm a cleric who's out there trying to make peace. How do you make peace? Make everybody follow the same.
The greater good.
Oh no.
Oh my goodness.
I'm really
Greater good.
trying to play up my character as the mom friend too. So if people like get injured, I'd be like, oh no, here, let me help.
Yeah, I'm sorry if there wasn't too much combat in this session. Like, there was a chance that combat could happen, but
Honestly, level 1 characters getting to level 2, yeah, let's do it by not having combat. Thank you very much.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can clearly see how I'm going to be running this, Mike.
My 12 hit points felt very, 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 very chompable by a sea monster.
Yeah, especially when a plesiosaur can do our health in average damage.
Indeed. Like
And 12 is probably a lot in this party to a degree.
It was 15.
Yeah, health. Let me roll my health.
yeah, the highest was 15 with Savage, I believe, at the time.
Mine is 10, so I don't know if that's the lowest. It might be.
Oh,
Skunk also had 10.
It's a tied.
So it was 15, 12, and 2 10s. All of which are in convenient plesiosaur chomping range.
I'm adding 7 to my max here, so I'm at 17 now.
Yeah, the thing about Frostmaiden, and most of the Wizards modules, I seem to see a consensus on, is that it's most of those like start at level 1, but they are notorious for being very deadly for level 1 to level 2 characters, it seems. And you can clearly tell by what you face that maybe fighting isn't always the answer. And the good thing about this is that this module does say, hey, if the says to your players, if the challenge is too great, running away is always an option, and so is talking it out. It's always an option.
Running away is always an option when you're a kobold.
It's especially if you're a kobold.
It's always the first option, actually.
You are not wrong.
Second is capitulate. And the third is use a trap and get away.
Okay. Four infusions known and 2 items.
Let's see.
Oh, beautiful. I'm very curious what Skanuk's infusions will be.
Channel Divinity and a Divine Domain feature.
I just accidentally wrote Auction Surge in my
75, 700, 150. I imagine like the how Meepo was stuttering for like the distance you should travel, like 150, 350, 250, like kind of feet, but like in your voice, Ox.
Was it auction or option? OPT. Option.
auction, as in like auctioning off. Yeah. So that's what he'll do instead of groveling, cowering, and begging. He just starts spewing numbers like that.
Except it's all in giant.
Don't know giant yet. Getting there.
Oh right.
Getting there.
Forgot.
Getting there. Getting there.
So
This was fun. It was really fun seeing your characters interact. I knew this was good. This was going to be good, and I'm already enjoying seeing the interactions.
Yeah. Savage's take on being a kobold is to break all of the standard tropes of being a kobold.
Indeed.
Not following orders from the lesser creatures, especially dragons or dragonborns. Not running away when something gets troublesome, like no guerrilla tactics. Guerrilla tactics are stupid. Straightforward is the only good way to go.
Indeed, the giant apes would probably disagree with that, but
Well, I
sorry, that was a dumb joke. I'm sorry.
No, I mean,
I'll go away.
Fine. No, you're fine. Don't leave. We want you here.
Mm.
You're running the stream anyway.
That is true. That is true. Oh man, I think
Were there any
highest viewers we had. We had 5 viewers at one time.
yeah, that's. I mean, you know, in terms of running a D&D game, you know, it's kind of a commitment watching something like this. You know what I mean?
Right. Like I was just kind of like saying like, oh, we should like stream it to Twitch just for the fun of it, you know. If anyone happened to watch, like, why not?
I mean, keep me posted on how the VOD does in terms of views, because I'm kind of curious about that.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll keep an eye on that. I'll also upload it to YouTube as well when I get the chance.
I always
Wait a second. What do you? Dang it! Who's doing this?
Who's doing what?
Do you see on the Mayor de Walden?
I see. I was very tempted when you first put this or like before the game started, to write "Here be kobolds" and stick it next to Bremen, but I decided against it.
Well, we gotta kind of keep track of what we've done in each area, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you like the arrow that I have here? I'm just like, anytime you guys move, I'm gonna like, as long as you guys know where you are.
That is honestly super useful.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I did like it. It's nice.
Yeah. How do you like the map, by the way?
I like the map.
Good.
It's good.
I like
I
it a
also
lot.
didn't realize that the
A lot
arrow.
of Welsh words.
Yeah, I made the map in Dungeon Draft. I based it off of, course, the map that they give you for Rime of the Frost Maiden. Obviously, like, it's obviously I'm using, like, you know, just a bunch of stamps for like the mountains and stuff, but like I think it turned out pretty well.
Yeah, it's good.
Is there
Sorry.
something you could stick up in this space? Because the one thing about this map, and I didn't realize this at first that it was this way, but my brain by the river is visually tricked into seeing that as a coastline, and then I see the mountains in my brain as like shut off. But yeah, I mean,
it does need a compass. That would be nice. I could add that pretty easily. I honestly, the Sea of Moving Ice up towards that way is a little bit farther away than that. I just kind of put that there as like a reminder for myself that it was there. I should, you know,
I'm just
actually
saying this river to me at a glance always reads as a coastline.
right. You know what I should do? I should have an arrow up here, to the
Like a rifle or something.
yeah, like something like two, like the Sea Moving Ice and like an arrow up there or whatever. But yeah, I will say, Michael, I pinned the list of artificer, not the artificer, the magic items compendium for Skunnock that you posted. If you want to talk eventually about like maybe having one of those, maybe being one of your like when you get to the point where you can create magical items from your thing.
Right. Yeah.
I'm thinking of maybe you could like maybe letting you use one of your custom ones, because you know, as an artificer, I'm sure you would pride yourself on maybe making something your own. And again, some of those options that are there are pretty spicy, just for like the regular artificer.
Yeah, I have, you know, there's no pricing on them. There's no like, I have no idea where they would be good in terms of balancing, like at what level they'd be appropriate. So
Right.
whenever you,
Well,
that's something
we'll either talk or I'll make like I'll kind of read it over and see like what seems to be better for balance. I'll look it over.
Wow, fighter level 2 is really simple.
I mean, it is. I mean, it's. I mean, to be fair, it's simple, but it's big. Action Surge is big.
And then fighter level 3 is
Yeah, fighter level, all of that.
I mean the Rune Knight has 3 features.
Seriously.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Barbarian gets reckless attack and danger sense.
Yeah.
I get my channel divinity options.
I get 4 infusions I need to pick, which is something I knew I was going to have to do and presumably planned for, but then entirely forgot.
I should use the emboldening bond more often when we're trying to trench coat.
All right. As far as the stream goes, I think we're going to stop the stream right now, but we can obviously work on it. We can continue talking in Discord. But for anyone who's watching this right now or who's watching the VOD, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching our little game, and I hope we'll see you next week.
Thank you to my adoring fans as the feet.
No, stop. No. All right, ending the stream now. Goodbye.